been doing some research about Mount Hermon. Now, in the book of Enoch, according to the stories in there, Mount Hermon is where the fallen angels came down to the earth for the first time. It says about 200 of them came down there. But there are some other interesting things about Mount Hermon that are in the Bible and that are legends about Mount Hermon. There are some legends that Abraham was promised Israel up on Mount Hermon. I don't know, if there's any truth to that, but I read that on one website. Another thing is that the transfiguration story of Jesus does not tell which mountain he went up on, but people believe it to be either Mount Tabor or Mount Hermon. Now, the reason why people believe that maybe he transfigured on Mount Hermon is because the area that he was preaching in is the closest mountain to that area. When he transfigured is Mount Hermon. So a lot of people point to that he was in that area when he, transfigured. According to the story, he went up on a high mountain, it says. And whenever I was doing a comparison between Mount Hermon and Mount Tabor, Mount Hermon definitely looks like a mountain, but Mount Tabor kind of just looks like a hill to me. I started to check around and do more research on Mount Hermon, and I started becoming more and more excited about the things that I was learning because, there were things that I never even realized before. One of the things is that there are two Mount Zions in the Bible. Most people already are aware of that. One is spelled with a Z, the other is spelled with an S. Now, most people just tend to, Zion, they just put them together, must be the same place, must be talking about Jerusalem. Well, whenever I started checking into things, I found out, no, that's not the case. Mount Zion with an S, S-I-O-N, is completely different than Mount Zion, Z-I-O-N. And in Deuteronomy 4:48, it says, the last part of this verse says, even unto Mount Zion, which is Hermon. So it's basically telling us that Mount Zion, S-I-O-N, is Mount Hermon. Then if you look up Mount Zion with an S, there are 3 verses that talks about this mountain. the one that says that it is Mount Hermon. There's another one that talks about how it's the city of the living God, the heavenly Jerusalem, and it talks about there's an innumerable company of angels on top of this mountain. And then the third verse about Mount Zion is Revelation 14:1. It talks about Jesus being on Mount Zion with the 144,000. Now these are the only verses that talk about this mountain. Now there's a lot of other verses that talk about Mount Hermon, but it's obvious from Deuteronomy 4:48 that Mount Zion is Mount Hermon. Another thing that is very interesting, all the snow melt on Mount Hermon runs off into little tributaries that run into or make up the Jordan River. So the Jordan River actually comes from Mount Hermon. A lot of people don't know that. Well, the Jordan River is where Jesus was baptized, from the water that came off of Mount Hermon.